happening, everybody? It's Sean with Reactions to the Classics, and today we've got a reaction to AC/DC, their album Let There Be Rock, brought to us by a friend, longtime supporter, and patron of the channel, Carl. Thank you, Carl. Appreciate you. Appreciate all the patrons who make this thing go. If you'd like to support us in any way, check out that Patreon link below or the Patreon link on the end screen. We could not do it without them. All right, we are going through the Bon Scott albums from AC/DC. So we are going month by month. So we've already done High Voltage and Dirty Deeds done dirt cheap. So we're just moving along in the catalog, all courtesy of Carl. So let's get into a little background on this album. This is their fourth studio album, although only third international. I won't get into all that. Watch the other videos if you want to know that. It was originally released in March of '77 in Australia, and a modified international version was released in July of 1977. It was the last AC/DC album to feature Mark Evans on bass, 19 in Australia, 17 in the UK, only 154 in the US. Now, in late 1976, AC/DC were in a slump. It was very close to being all over, said manager Michael Browning. He said things were progressing very well in London and Europe. We've been through a whole thing with the Marquee where they broke all the house records. We'd done the Lock Up Your Daughter's UK tour and the Reading Festival. It was all shaping up really well. In the middle of the tour, I get a phone call saying Atlantic Records in America didn't like the Dirty Deeds album, that in fact they were going to drop the group from the label. And that's when things got really bad. Now, Mark Evans, the bassist I just mentioned, his last album on this, said there was always a siege mentality about that band. But once we all found out that Atlantic had knocked us back, the attitude was F them. Who the F do they think they are? So from that point on, it was F it. We'll show them. We were seriously effing pissed off about it. It didn't need to be discussed. We were going to go in and make the album and shove it up their arse. Angus Young said, our brother George asked us what kind of album we wanted to make. And we said it would be great if we could just do a lot of guitar riffs because we're all fired up after doing all this touring. A contribution to the huge sound on this album is the band all playing together in the same room. If you don't know a lot about recording, that actually does not happen a ton, not at least for a whole album. The guitars were therefore leak into the drum and vocal mics, and it was difficult to escape the Youngs' sonic attack. This was a huge move forward for the band. Reception of this album was generally positive. In 2001, Q Magazine named it as one of the 50 heaviest albums of all time. In 2000, Angus Young recalled to Guitar World that producer Mutt Lange once told him, quote, of all the albums we'd done with my brother George and his partner Harry Vonda, the one Mutt wished he would have done, where he was envious of George, was this album, Let There Be Rock. Band biographer Jesse Fink writes, wherever AC/DC ended up in the annals of rock history, this album would stand for all time as an expression of their unrivaled might as a guitar band. That is high praise. As always, all tracks written by Angus Young, Malcolm Young, and Bon Scott. So, as I mentioned, obviously we're doing the international version. If you haven't ever been with us before, the music won't be in the video, but it's going to be at a Vimeo link below. So click on that and follow along. Let's jump into it. With our opening track, Go Down, I'm going to have the lyrics up as always. Thanks again, Carl. All right, Go Down, the quintessential AC/DC sound. I'll leave the lyrics to you. You can kind of figure it out. It's pretty self-explanatory, even from the song title, but the guitar solo in here by Angus is just classic Angus, and Bon sounds good. You know, they have a really good way of making stuff stick in your head because when he's singing the Go Down, Angus hits that guitar riff as he does it, go down, and it makes it stick in your head. It's a nice little trick and why some of their music is maybe a little more, quote, catchy than others in their genre. Next up, we go to Dog Eat Dog. It was a single. Dog Eat Dog. Phil Rudd's drumming on there was really good. I thought it was more... You know, it was really good guitar-wise, but I thought it was just a good overall band performance on the instrumentation. And a catchy song, a really good single. And I mean, the idea of it's a dog-eat-dog world, right? It's an eye for an eye. It talks about that in there. You got to watch out, man. Like, you want to think there's good in everyone. And I think there's good in everyone, but, like, you got to watch yourself, man, because almost everyone wants something from you. It's a dog-eat-dog world. So just a catchy, good tune. All right, next up, we have Let There Be Rock. It was a single. It provides an encapsulated, fictionalized version of the history of rock and roll. Building on a line from the Chuck Berry song, of course, Roll Over Beethoven, Tell Tchaikovsky the News. Let There Be Rock reveals that Tchaikovsky did, in fact, receive the message and subsequently shared it with the masses, resulting in the rise of rock and roll. Following rock's birth, rock bands appeared everywhere. Musicians found fame, while businesses made money from their efforts. Yeah, you could say that. And millions of people learned how to play electric guitar. The third and final verse speaks of a 42 decibel rock band playing good, loud music in an establishment called the Shaking Hand. This is usually changed to 92 decibels when they play it live. After the final verse, the song ends with an extended solo by Angus. It's widely considered one of the band's best songs. The Guardian ranks at 4 on the list of the 40 greatest AC/DC songs, and the British rock magazine Kerrang ranked it 3 on its list of the 20 greatest AC/DC songs. I think I know this song. I mean, it sounds familiar. I think I've heard it, but we'll find out. All right, Let There Be Rock. Obviously, I mean, this is analysis at a preschool level. The solo, especially at the end by Angus, but really throughout, but the solo at the end was unbelievable. I read that in concert, he sometimes will finish out with 10 minutes on this. Everybody else will leave the stage, and he'll do a 10-minute outro on this song, a 10-minute coda solo on it, probably so everybody else could get some rest, but just fantastic. Bond's delivery was good on this too. At times, it almost felt like he was sort of talking to you, almost in a cocky way, right? Kind of like what you want with some swag. So I thought that was a really good song, man. I actually have never heard that song, so I thought I had. It just sounds like something. It's definitely the perfect title for an AC/DC song, right? Let There Be Rock. All right, we're going to finish out the A side with Bad Boy Boogie. Bad Boy Boogie, just an AC/DC song, man. It has the sound. It's fine. You know, once again, the instrumentation's great. I mean, Bad Boy Boogie, this premise of the song is basically Bond's a little bit of a ladies' man, and that's what he's always going to be. That's kind of what he was born to be. You know, that Bad Boy Boogie. All right, let's move on to the B side, side 2, whatever you prefer to call it. And we got Problem Child, which is interesting because it was on the last album, right? Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap in 1976. It was on the previous album. This one's just a shortened version. I'm missing the reprise coda. All right, Problem Child. I just love the swag of that song. I liked it before. I like it even more the second time I hear it. It's just Bond telling you, like, you just believe it, man. Like I said, it's just got swag. He said, I'm hot when I'm not. I'm cold as ice. Get out of my way. Just step aside or pay the price. And then the pre-chorus, what I want, I take. What I don't, I break. And I don't want you. With a flick of my knife, I can change your life. There's nothing you can do. I'm a problem child. Make my stand, no man's land, on my own. Man in blue, it's up to you. The seed is sown. And then that third verse, every night, street of light, I drink my booze. Some run, some fight, but I win, they lose. Just a really good song, man. I think Bond sounds fantastic. The instrumentation's right. It's a classic AC/DC sound. Next up, we have Overdose. All right, Overdose. The least streamed song on here. I can see that a little bit. It's interesting instrumentally because it has a slow build and some things go on. But, I mean, it's a formula, man. You throw in an Angus guitar solo, and it pumps the song up. So the longer the song went on, the more I liked it. But what I do really like about it is the songwriting, because it's a much more mature, you know, Bond songwriting oftentimes can be juvenile, which I would have loved when I was a teenage boy, right? I get it. Like, I'm not trashing it, but this one's way different. Like, he's talking about, I never smoked no cigarettes. I never drank much booze, but I'm only a man, don't you understand? And a man can sometimes lose. You gave me something I never had. Pull me down with you. Hit me up, big hunk of love. Hope you can pull me through. I overdosed on you. Crazy, but it's true. Ain't nothing I could do. I overdosed on you. So it wasn't all these vices that he wanted, but it's the girl who's addictive, but also destructive, right? He can't get away from her, but she's not good for him. And I think a lot of us have been in that situation at some point in life where in your brain, you know, this person isn't good for you, but there's that pull there that you just can't get away. So I thought that and I mean, on through the song, really good songwriting. So kudos to Bond on that one. Now, as a Christian, I got to disagree with this, but next song, Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be. Just a good rockin' AC/DC song, right? They're really rolling on this album, but I won't get ahead of myself. Still got one song left. Hell Ain't a Bad Place to Be. Also, a little bit of the love theme here, right? He's talking about how, you know, this girl, he's in love with her, but she's going out at night and stuff without him, and he's starting to think, what is going on there? But I like the first verse. He starts, sometimes I think this woman is kind of hot. Sometimes I think this woman is sometimes not. Puts me down, fool me around. Why she do it to me? Out for satisfaction. Any piece of action. That ain't the way it should be. And so, you know, the pre-chorus talks about it. And then the chorus is simply just hell ain't a bad place to be, which they do sometimes. Sometimes the chorus for AC/DC is just one line, which also works and is kind of a unique thing because they get the guitar in there. Spends my money, drinks my booze, stays out every night. But I got to thinking, hey, just a minute, something ain't right. So he's talking about her telling him lies. But the next pre-chorus, don't mind her playing demon as long as it's with me. If this is hell, then let me say it's heavenly. So, yeah, I get it. I get the hell ain't a bad place to be. All right, let's go to the last track. And it's the most streamed song on here, even more than Let There Be Rock. We got a whole lot of Rosie, 36 in the UK. There is a story behind this one. It's about an obese Tasmanian woman, Rosie, with whom the singer, which of course is Bond, had a one-night stand at the Freeway Gardens Motel in North Melbourne. In addition to pointing out the woman's size, the singer finds her to be one of the most talented lovers he has ever experienced. In 1998, speaking of Vox magazine, Angus remembered, "We'd been in Tasmania, and after the show, Bond said he was going to check out a few clubs. He said he got about 100 yards down the street when he heard this yell, 'Hey, Bond!' He looked around and saw this leg and thought, oh well. From what he said, there was this Rosie woman and a friend of hers. They were plying him with drinks, and Rosie said to him, 'This month I've slept with 28 famous people.' And Bond went, 'Oh yeah?' Anyway, in the morning, instead, he woke up pinned against the wall. He said he opened one eye and saw her lean over to her friend and whisper, 29. There's very few people who go out and write a song about a big fat lady, but Bond said it was worthy." I mean, I had to share that story with you. All right, let's do it. All right, Whole Lot of Rosie. Just a funny song, man. Like the ending, though, the guitar solo that ended out from Angus is the perfect way to end this album out. But I don't know if you could write this song now. I mean, you could, but people come after you, man. But it's good, man. It's a really good song, man. It's funny, yet Bond's being sincere, man. At the start of it, I like because his voice is a little bit different. He's talkative. He's really letting that accent come out. So a good way to finish off this album. Now we're going to get to my favorite tracks. There's only 8 tracks on here. I mean, the album's still 41 minutes long. This is kind of what you want in this genre, right? Less tracks, 40 minutes, kind of like a Led Zepp. That's what Led Zepp, I'm not saying they're exactly in the same genre, but that's how Led Zepp did some of their albums, which was nice. Honorable mentions, we're going to go with Overdose. Not that it's a standout on this album as far as just if you listen to the song, but I really liked the lyricism by Bond. And we'll go a Whole Lot of Rosie. Faves are going to be Dog Eat Dog, Let There Be Rock, and Problem Child. So now we're going to get to my overall score. For me, this album is way above their first 2 offerings, right? And that's not any shade at that, but this album is really, really good. I mean, if you like this genre of music, this is an album that I think you should turn to and give it multiple spins. I'm going to give it an 8.5. So we have gone up considerably. Still got a couple albums left, right? So continue this journey with us. Go check out the first 2 albums I did in this series. Just type in AC/DC in that bar and you're going to see that and a few other things. All right. Thanks to Carl for bringing this one. Let me know what you guys think of this album. What are your favorite tracks below? And until next time, guys, I will see you.